Hey everyone, Ty Wulf here again. I just wanted to pop in and learn you guys something really quick about intervals one more time. Today we're going to talk about the major and the minor seventh. Just like the major and the minor third are the main component for our major and minor triad chords, our major and minor seventh are the main building blocks for our seventh chords. Seventh chords are different than triads because they have 4 notes instead of 3. So in the last video we talked about stacking thirds on top of each other to make triads, right? So we can continue that train of thought. And if we stack a third on top of the fifth of our triad, then that's going to give us our major or minor seventh, depending on whether you use a major or minor third. I'm going to demonstrate that really quick using the chord charts that we used from the last video as a visual aid, and I'm just going to show you where the notes are at in relationship here really quick. So we got regular power chord, root and fifth, right? So if we take the minor third of that fifth, put it together, and then we have that minor seventh sound. It's a very jazzy sort of sound. By the same token, if we take the same power chord, then we major third off of the fifth, we have very nice major third sort of sound. I don't know if any other guitarists actually use these chord shapes, but I like to call them the 7th power chords. And I'll show you an easy way to play a major and a minor version. It's a movable chord shape. You're going to have to pay attention to what step of the scale you're on. You're going to want to play the major and the minor at the right spot, otherwise you're going to sound bad together. But once again, like I mentioned before, your ear is going to be able to sort that out for you really easy. Don't worry about making any mistakes, just get out there and experiment with these, see which patterns work and which ones don't. Anyway, so we have root, fifth, minor seventh, just like that. So that's 5, 7, 5, 5, 7, 5. And the major version will just go 5, 7, 6. So they're sort of like power chords, they're like a movable chord shape. I use them in my music. Maybe you can get some use out of that, maybe not. There's obviously other more proper ways to play 7th chords with bigger voicings. You know, you would want to have the major or the minor third in there with it too and get an entire four note chord, right? We're going to cover that one on a different video though, because there's a lot more different types of 7th chords than there are triads, and I think that we're going to have to dive a lot deeper in order to cover all of that sufficiently. So another really easy way to find the 7th is to just count down from the octave, right? So octave is 8, so the 7th is the next step below the octave that sounds in key. So if you're in a major scale, then the 7th is going to be a half step below the root. But if you're in a minor scale, then the 7th is going to be a full step below the root. And I'll demonstrate it right now. There's power chord, right? This note here is the octave. So we want to do a minor 7th, take it back a step. Remember that shape from earlier? That's right. And the same thing as the major 7th power chord that I showed you earlier too. That's just 1.5 step back from the octave. Super simple. And as such, 7ths also have this function in harmony where they have the strongest tendency to resolve back to the root note. So instead of sitting right there below the root, right there below the octave, they just want to jump up that last extra step and just resolve back nicely to whatever the root of your scale is, whatever the root of your main chord is. In school, they told me they like to call that the leading tone function, right? It's the leading tone, it leads back to 1. 7th chords usually get related to jazz harmony, and it's a really easy, fast-track way to get more of a jazzy kind of sound into your music. So just learn a few 7th chord shapes and just throw those in there at the right spots. Maybe do like a whole chord progression that has 7th chords, right? I've done that before. I've just used those 7th power chord shapes and just made entire chord progressions out of them, you know? Just like back when I used to play punk rock songs. I just used power chords for all of them. I just decided maybe I'd just write a song the same way, but instead of using power chords, use these modified 7th power chords and make kind of like a power jazz kind of song, right? So that's kind of my main theme with all of these lessons, is like, how can I teach you to do cooler stuff without having to know a bunch of music theory yet, right? So jumping into 7ths early and just playing around and seeing where you can make them fit, it's a great way to advance your sound. But the more details that you learn, the more you're going to understand why what you're playing works, and the better you're going to be able to apply it. But there's no reason that you can't start applying it right now. Anyway, I think that's enough for this time. Next time we have a talk about intervals, we're going to cover the major and the minor seconds. Very interesting stuff there. So thanks for watching and stick around. Have fun out there.